The evening sun was low when Jared stood alone in the middle of his dead fields. The dry wind touched his face, carrying the smell of burned crops and broken dreams. His right sleeve was empty, his missing arm moved with the wind like a reminder of his hard past. He had once been a proud farmer, a man who could fix any machine, grow any seed, and help any neighbor. But now he was tired. His farm was almost gone. The fire that destroyed half of his land still haunted him. No one knew how it started. Some said it was an accident. Others whispered that someone did it on purpose. Jared did not know the truth, but he felt something strange that day, like someone was watching him from the trees. The thought never left him. He looked at his last crop field, nothing but ash. His animals were weak, and the barn roof had holes. He had no workers, no money, and no family left. Life had been unfair, but he kept going with whatever strength he had. He believed one day things would get better. That hope was the only thing keeping him alive. As he stood there, thinking about selling the land and leaving forever, something beeped inside his pocket. He frowned and pulled out a small hologram device, an old cracked thing he found in a scrap market. He never really used it. But now, the screen glowed with a blue light. A soft robotic voice spoke. "Your requested companion is arriving in 12 minutes. Jared's eyes widened in shock. "What companion?" he whispered. He quickly pressed buttons, trying to understand. The device repeated, "Arrival confirmed. Prepare for landing." Jared's heartbeat jumped. He remembered something months ago during a lonely winter night. He had clicked on a cheap alien bride service. He had been drunk, sad, and joking with himself. But he never confirmed anything. He never sent money. And now? Someone was coming? He shook his head. This had to be a mistake. Maybe a prank. Maybe some scam. He didn't even have food for himself, so why would he order anyone? But the sky answered his question. A blue streak of light suddenly shot across the clouds, heading directly toward his farm. The ground shook lightly, and dust lifted from the fields. The strange sound was like thunder mixed with a humming engine. Jared's breath froze. "That is not a drone," he whispered. He took a step back as the light grew brighter. It was coming fast. Too fast. He thought of running, but his legs wouldn't move. Fear and confusion stuck him in place. A silver pod, shaped like a falling star, dropped behind his barn with a loud blast of air. The cows panicked, the old metal roof rattled, and the wind spun in circles. Jared shielded his eyes. When the dust finally settled, the pod stood quietly smooth, tall, glowing softly from underneath. He had seen alien tech before on news channels, but never this close. The pod's door slid open with a gentle hiss. Out stepped a woman. No, an alien woman. She was tall, with smooth silver blue skin that shimmered under the sunset. Her eyes were soft violet, glowing from the inside like tiny stars. Her hair flowed like strands of black glass. She wore simple travel clothes, covered in dust, as if she had run for days. She looked at Jared with a calm expression. Her voice was gentle. "You are Jared, the human farmer?" Jared swallowed hard. "Yes, yeah. That's me." His voice cracked slightly. He felt foolish. The alien woman stepped forward, holding a glowing metallic case in her hand. "My name is Lyra," she said. "You requested me. I am here to belong to you." Jared almost stopped breathing. "What? Belong?" "No, I didn't. I never confirmed any order." He felt embarrassed, confused, and scared all at once. But Lyra looked at him calmly, as if she already knew his confusion. "The system shows your approval. So I came." Jared ran his hand through his hair. "I don't even have money. I can barely take care of my farm." Lyra glanced around the burned field, the broken fences, the dying crops. Her soft glowing eyes slowly dimmed with sadness. She walked toward the soil, kneeled down, and touched the ground gently with her fingers. The moment her hand touched the earth, the soil glowed faintly. Jared stepped back, shocked. What did you just do?" Lyra closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the land. Then she whispered, "Someone tried to destroy your farm." This was not an accident. Jared froze. His heart jumped at her words. How do you know that?" Lyra looked up at him. "Your soil is poisoned with fire salt. It burns slow and destroys roots forever. Only someone with knowledge of alien chemicals could do this." Jared felt the world tilt. So the whispers were true. Someone really wanted to destroy him, but why? He had no enemies. Lyra stood up and opened her metallic case for 1 second. Jared's eyes widened. He saw glowing crystals inside, beautiful, bright, and powerful. They looked expensive. Very expensive. Maybe worth more than his entire valley. Lyra closed the case quickly. Jared stared at her. "Why are you carrying that? What is all this?" Lyra's expression changed, fear mixed with caution. "It is my inheritance. I should not speak more." She looked around, scanning the sky. Danger follows this. Jared felt a chill run down his spine. "Danger? You mean someone is coming?" Lyra didn't answer. Instead, she looked at him with soft eyes. "You are kind, Jared. I came because you called. I will help you." She touched the broken fence. "I will fix this place. I will make it strong again." Before Jared could reply, a sudden sound echoed from the tree-lined soft footsteps, slow and careful. Jared turned sharply. "Did you hear that?" Lyra nodded. Her eyes glowed brighter, scanning the shadows. "We are not alone." Jared's breath stopped. Someone, or something, was watching them. Behind the barn, the old windmill spun once. Then a dark figure moved silently behind the trees. Lyra stepped closer to Jared, whispering, "They were waiting for me to arrive." Jared felt his chest tighten. "Who?" Lyra held her glowing case tightly. Her violet eyes stared into the forest. "Hunters." The word fell heavy in the air. Jared felt fear for the first time in years. The one-armed farmer, standing on a dying farm, suddenly understood. Tonight would not be a normal night. Something had come for Lyra, and now, it had come for him too. Night fell quietly over Jared's farm, but the silence felt wrong, too sharp, too alert, like the land itself was holding its breath. Jared stood near the old barn, holding a dim lantern in his left hand. His missing arm ached with phantom pain, something that always happened when he was scared. And right now, he was more afraid than he had been in years. Lyra stood beside him, holding her glowing metallic case with both hands. Her violet eyes scanned the dark trees at the edge of the farm. She wasn't shaking. She wasn't panicking. But she wasn't calm either. There was tension in her posture, like a hunted animal listening for the next attack. Jared whispered, "Who are they?" "The hunters you talked about?" Lyra took a slow breath. "They are not simple hunters. They are agents from my world. My uncle's soldiers. They trap people like me, people they do not want alive." Jared felt his heart pound. "Why would they want you dead?" Lyra looked at the glowing case, then back at him. "You saw a little inside this box. Those crystals, they belong to my family. When my father died, they became mine. It is a royal fortune. Whoever controls it, controls half my world." Jared's eyes widened. "A royal fortune? And your uncle wants that?" "He wants everything," Lyra said softly. "He killed my father. He sent me away to a remote school. But when he learned I inherited the fortune, he sent hunters to erase me and take it." Jared stared at her in shock. "And you came to me? A one-armed farmer? Why?" Lyra looked down, embarrassed. "I did not know this world well. I needed a place where they would never expect me to hide. A place quiet, small, forgotten. The matching system selected you. Maybe by accident. Maybe by fate. Jared almost laughed, even though nothing was funny. Fate brought a princess to a broken farm? Lyra looked up with a small smile, one that faded quickly as she stared again at the dark field. The wind shifted again, soft footsteps. Slow, deliberate. Jared lowered the lantern. Inside, now. They rushed into the barn. Jared locked the door and pushed a heavy crate against it. The animals inside were restless, pacing and snorting like they sensed the danger. Lyra stood near the wall, touching the cracked wooden beam. "This building is old," she whispered. "It won't stop them." "I know," Jared said. "But it'll slow them." He looked around at his tools, broken machines, rusted chains, old fuel cans. He had nothing strong enough to fight soldiers. He had only his brain. And this land, Lyra finally looked him in the eyes. "You should leave. Run away. They want me, not you." Jared shook his head. "I'm not leaving you out there. You stepped off that pod with nothing but hope. You trusted me. I can't turn my back." Lyra's eyes softened. "No one ever stood for me. Not even on my own planet." Before Jared could respond, the sound came. A metallic thud. Then the barn's side wall trembled. Someone was outside. Jared whispered, "Get behind the stalls." Lyra moved quickly. The glowing case stayed close to her chest. Jared peeked through a crack in the barn wall. He saw him, a tall alien figure at least 7 feet, covered in dark armor, glowing green lines running across the chest plate. His helmet had 2 bright lenses like burning emeralds. His long weapon hummed with electric energy. He wasn't hiding. He was waiting. Jared felt his heartbeat speed up. "He's alone," he whispered. "But he's dangerous." Lyra's voice trembled for the first time. "That is Kale, my uncle's personal hunter. He never fails a mission." The barn door creaked as Kale dragged something heavy across the ground. "He was preparing," Jared whispered. "He's setting something outside." Lyra closed her eyes. "A capture field. Once it activates, we can't escape." Jared cursed under his breath. He had seconds. He grabbed the only working tool, a metal rod with wires sticking out. A broken electric prod. He wasn't sure it worked, but he didn't care. Kale's footsteps moved closer. The barn door shook again. Then a metallic voice echoed, "Return the girl." "Human, step aside." Jared felt anger burn inside him. He stepped forward. He shouted through the door, "She's not yours." Kale responded calmly, "She was never yours either. You are weak. You cannot protect her." Jared clenched his jaw. "I don't need 2 arms to fight." Lyra stepped beside him. "You cannot face him." Jared looked at her gently. "I told you I won't leave you." Kale grew impatient. The barn door bent inward under a heavy strike. Wood splintered. The animals cried out. Dust rained from the ceiling. Lyra opened her case again. The crystals glowed brightly. Jared stared. "What are you doing?" "I am activating them," she said. "They are not only wealth. They are power cores." The crystals floated inside the box, humming like small suns. Lyra placed her hand on the air above them. Light wrapped around her fingers. For a few moments, "I can protect us." Kale struck again. The door cracked in half. Light burst from Lyra's case, creating a small shimmering shield around them. Jared stepped behind her, holding the metal rod tightly. Kale smashed through the remains of the barn door and stepped inside. His green visor glowed like fire. He pointed his weapon. But the shield stopped the first blast, just barely. Lyra's voice was strained. "I cannot hold it long." Jared looked at the machines around him. His mind raced. His father once taught him, When you can't fight a stronger enemy, make the land fight for you. Jared shouted, "Drop the shield when I say so." Lyra nodded, trusting him completely. Jared kicked over the lantern, letting the oil spread on the floor. Then he grabbed the thick fuel hose of his old tractor and pointed it at the ground. Cale stepped forward. He smiled behind the mask. "Futile." Jared yelled, "Now!" Lyra dropped the shield. Cale fired. At the same moment, Jared struck the metal rod against the floor, making a spark. The entire left side of the barn exploded into flames as the fuel ignited. The blast threw Cale backward, slamming him against the barn wall. Lyra gasped. Covering her face from the heat, Jared grabbed her hand. "Run!" They rushed out of the broken back door as flames roared behind them. The animals escaped into the night. Jared stumbled but kept running, pulling Lyra with him. Behind them, Cale stood up, slowly burned, angry, smoky armor cracked. He wasn't dead. He wasn't even close, but he was furious. His voice echoed through the burning barn. "You cannot run forever. I will return with more men." Lyra clutched the glowing case. Her eyes were full of fear and guilt. "I brought danger to you. I should have stayed away." Jared turned to her, breathing hard. "Don't say that. We're alive because of you." She stared at him. "You risked your life for me." Jared nodded slowly. "And I'll do it again." Lyra looked toward the dark horizon. "He will not stop. My uncle will send an entire squad. They will come for me and kill you to get to me." Jared clenched his jaw. "Then we prepare. We fight." Lyra's voice broke softly. "Humans, you surprise me." But deep inside, Jared knew one thing. Tomorrow would be worse. The danger was not over. It had only begun. Dawn arrived slowly, painting the sky with pale orange colors. Jared stood on the hill near his broken barn, breathing the cold morning air. The entire left side of the barn was burned to black ashes. Smoke still rose weakly from the ruins. The animals had returned and were now eating grass quietly, unaware of the war that was coming. Jared had not slept the whole night. He had spent hours preparing traps, fixing old machines, and planning the land like a battlefield. He moved with determination, every step slow but strong, every action filled with purpose. He had only one arm, but that did not stop him. In fact, it made him more focused. Lyra watched him from the porch of the farmhouse. Her violet eyes were full of worry. "You worked all night," she whispered. Jared nodded. "There's no time to rest." She walked closer to him, holding her glowing case. "My powers are low. The energy shield took too much from the crystals. I can use it again, but not for long." Jared looked at her gently. "You already saved me once. Now it's my turn to save you." Lyra stared at him. "No human has ever protected me. Why do you care so much?" Jared took a slow breath. "Because nobody deserves to be hunted. Because you trusted me. And because I don't want to lose you." Lyra's expression softened. She placed her hand warm and glowing on his chest for a moment. "Then we fight together." Before they could say more, a deep, vibrating hum filled the air. Both of them looked up. 3 alien ships broke through the clouds, descending in a formation like sharp knives slicing the sky. Their engines glowed green. Their shadows spread across the land like dark wings. Lyra's voice shook. "My uncle sent the elite squad." Jared picked up his old shotgun, not because it would kill aliens, but because it made him feel like a warrior again. "Get inside. Stay low. Follow the plan." Lyra nodded and ran to the barn ruins to hide behind a metal beam. The ships landed in a wide circle around Jared's farm. Dust exploded upward. The land shook. And then 7 armored aliens stepped out, including Cale, whose armor was burned and cracked from last night's blast. Kale pointed his weapon at Jared. You delayed the mission. You hurt me, but you cannot change the end. Jared took a step forward, shoulders straight. I don't need to change the end. I just need to protect her. Kale laughed darkly. A one-armed human farmer thinks he can protect a royal heir? Humans are weak. Jared tightened his grip on the shotgun. You made one mistake, he said. You came to my land. At that moment, one of Jared's traps activated. A hidden cable snapped upward, slamming into the legs of the nearest hunter. He fell hard onto the ground. Kale turned sharply. What? Jared kicked the old generator beside him. It roared to life and sent a charge through the fence. The second alien touched it and screamed as electricity shocked him backward. Lyra watched from behind the barn beam, eyes wide with fear and amazement. Jared moved between old tractors, using every inch of land like a shield. Kale shouted, "Spread out! Capture them alive!" The hunters moved, firing green beams that melted metal and burned the earth. Jared ducked behind a tractor, then crawled through the grass. He reached the old fuel pipe he set during the night. He shouted, "Lyra now!" Lyra raised her glowing case and released a short burst of light. It wasn't a shield, just a blinding flash. The alien stumbled back, confused. Jared slammed the fuel valve open. Gas poured out. Then he threw the lit lantern he prepared. Boom! A massive fire burst across the field, knocking two aliens into the dirt. Flames rose high, cutting the battlefield in half. Lyra flinched but stayed hidden. Kale roared angrily. Enough games! He charged at Jared with incredible speed. Jared ran behind the windmill. His legs burned. His heart pounded. Kale smashed through the wooden wall behind him like paper. Jared jumped. A side dash barely. Kale grabbed him by the collar and lifted him off the ground. You think traps can save you? You are nothing. Jared struggled, gasping. But then he reached down with his free hand, grabbed a handful of sharp dirt, and threw it into Kale's visor. Kale growled and dropped him. Jared rolled away, coughing, but he didn't stop. He ran toward the last trap, an old harvesting machine he repaired during the night. Kale wiped his visor clean. Your little tricks end now. He aimed his weapon at Jared. Before he could fire, a bright violet shield flashed around Jared. Lyra's shield. She ran out from behind the barn ruins. Her voice cracked. Leave him alone. Kale looked at her. Princess, surrender. I will spare the human. Lyra shook her head. You will kill him anyway. Kale raised his weapon. Then he fired a blast that hit the shield. Lyra screamed as the energy shook her whole body. The shield flickered. Jared shouted, Lyra, get back. But she stood firm. Her glowing hands trembled. I won't let him die. Kale fired again. The shield weakened. Lyra fell to her knees, panting. I can't hold it. Jared knew this was his only chance. He shouted, Lyra, drop the shield. Jared, no. Trust me. Lyra let the shield fall. Kale charged forward to strike. Jared directly. Jared dove toward the harvesting machine and slammed the ignition. The machine roared. The metal teeth spun fast, dangerous, loud. Deadly. Kale lunged. Jared grabbed a metal rod and shoved it between Kale's legs. Tripping him, Kale fell forward, and the spinning blades struck his armor. Sparks exploded. Kale screamed as his armor cracked open. He pulled himself away, but his right arm armor shattered completely. He fell to his knees, breathing hard. The remaining hunters saw Kale down and froze. They looked at each other, unsure. Kale staggered up, furious but weak. He pointed at Lyra. This is not over. Your uncle will send an army. Lyra stood slowly, holding her glowing case to her chest. She looked at Kale with royal anger. You forget something, she said softly. I am still the heir. And I still have the fortune. Kale's visor flickered. "What are you saying?" Lyra opened the case fully. The crystals rose into the air, glowing like stars. She whispered a command. The crystals pulsed, releasing a bright wave of light. Every hunter's weapons powered down instantly. Their suits froze. Kale dropped his weapon in shock. "You activated the royal codes." Lyra nodded. "These crystals obey only my bloodline. And I now command them to remove your authority." The hunter's armor lights faded to black. They were powerless. Kale fell forward, defeated. You are stronger than I thought." Lyra stepped beside Jared. Her voice was calm. "I am not stronger. I just had someone who believed in me." Jared looked at her gently. "You had yourself. I only helped." The hunters got back on their ships and left, carrying the message that the royal heir had taken control. Lyra closed the case and turned to Jared. "My uncle will now be removed from power. My people will finally respect the rightful heir." Jared smiled. "That's good. You deserve peace." Lyra took a slow breath. "And you deserve more than pain and broken land." She opened the case again, taking out 3 bright crystals. She placed them in Jared's hand. "These are for you. Not as payment, but as a new beginning." Jared stared at them, shocked. This is worth more than the entire valley." Lyra smiled softly. "And you are worth more than an entire kingdom." Weeks later, Jared rebuilt his farm with alien technology, new irrigation, shining domes, healthy crops that grew in hours instead of weeks. People from nearby towns called it the Miracle Farm. Every evening, Lyra stood with him on the porch, watching the fields glow under the sunset. Jared looked at her one evening and whispered, "Are you staying?" Lyra smiled, her violet eyes warm. "I arrived here because of a mistake, but I stayed because of you." Jared took her hand. She squeezed it gently. Together, they looked at the farm, a place saved by one man with one arm, and one alien woman with a heart full of courage.